What's the most obnoxious attention-seeking behavior you've witnessed? I remember being on some Minecraft server with some friends when I was 15, probably around 2 a.m. Somehow the convo got deep and someone said something edgy like "I know true pain." Now there's this girl in this group who always had to be the best or whatever. She tried to convince us that at the young age of 15 she was becoming a doctor and was already in university at Oxford. She also called me stupid because I was not a doctor at 15 and couldn't learn an entire language overnight like she apparently could. I'm not joking. Once around 10 p.m. she said, "I think I'm gonna learn another language. Swedish seems cool," and then claimed she was now fluent in it the next morning. Long story short, I already knew she was an attention seeker and I didn't really like her because she tried to talk over everyone anyway. She sees this "I know true pain" message and takes that as an invitation to do her stuff. She goes, "Oh, you think you know true pain?" And then goes on to describe in detail how her best friend had been hit by a car when they were 6 and how she held her friend in her arms while waiting for help to arrive. She mentioned other random stuff like how her mother passed from terminal illness or whatever, which that part was true but she milked it often. Then comes the grand slam. She says, "I saw my uncle jump out of the Twin Towers on September 11th. I climbed into the wreckage and held up his pelvis bone and my mom took a picture of it." Now it was at this moment that something seemed amiss. You see, I was older than her and I even had no memory of that event. I was 2 years old at the time, which also means she was around 2 at that time. This was the first piece of logic I pointed out against this statement. She replied with, "I have picture-perfect memory," which I'm willing to maybe believe. My next question was, "Okay, but you must understand the planes hit the towers pretty high up. How did you, an infant, comprehend the disaster, and then not only see but recognize your uncle out of hundreds of jumpers falling from floors that were likely 80 to 100 stories up?" She replied with something dumb, trying to move on with her sob story. But I'm on a roll. Sleep-deprived me continued. "But let's say you somehow, maybe 1 in a million, noticed your uncle. And specifically your uncle falling from the top of the burning building when you were an infant. Okay, sure, unfortunately you then claim to have, as an infant, slipped away from your family past the emergency services and found your way to ground zero. You then climbed onto the burning remains of the building and in all 220 floors of destruction found a pelvis bone that just so happened to belong to your uncle. More importantly, why did your mother see this and decide to take a picture?" I don't remember much from that night, but that always stuck with me because being a 15-year-old she annoyed me with this, and this was me basically calling her a dummy. It's also a fun story to share.